Welcome to Pencils and Lipstick. This is a podcast for indie authors. I'm Kat Caldwell, novelist, short story writer, and book coach. Here on Pencils and Lipstick, we're obsessed with all things story, and it is my goal to bring you the writing tips that you need to make your novel come to life. Hello everyone, welcome back to Pencils and Lipstick. This is episode 291. So we are ending 2025 with almost 300 episodes, and I just want to thank you all for listening, whether you've listened to one or whether you've listened to all 291 episodes or somewhere in between, which I believe the majority of you are. I just thank you for being listeners. It's just, I appreciate you all. It is nice. I love doing this podcast. I love talking to writers, and it is nice to know that some other people like listening to the conversation. So thank you so much for listening. Today we have one more interview to close out the year. It's with Viktoria Nikola. Of course, her links will be in the show notes below. I highly encourage you to follow her on TikTok. She's very active there, and to check out her books. I have read actually one of her books. I don't read every single book from every author that comes on here because, quite honestly, I just don't have the time. I would love to. I've bought quite a few of them and they're on my TBR, but I have finished Victoria's book. It is really interesting, especially if you like historical fiction. Completely different than anything that I had read this year. So I highly encourage you to check it out. We'll be talking about it in the interview. So we are going to take 2 weeks break. I encourage you to check out some other episodes. I'll be highlighting them in my social media. But more than that, I encourage you guys to get on my writers list for the 12 days of Christmas. I have five or six other editors and book coaches who are participating this year. So it's not just my workshops and ebooks that you'll be getting for free or either free or steeply discounted, but other people's. So you'll be able to find other coaches and check them out. And there's some really awesome treats in there for you guys. I will also be having a 12 Days of Christmas for the readers. So if you want to get on the readers list and participate in that and get some audiobooks, maybe for free or discounted, and ebooks, I would highly encourage you to do that. It'll be a fun little treat. It's just one email per day between the 26th and the 6th. Actually, it's 2 emails. So it's like, it's closing out, be sure to grab this goodie while you can. So it's just for 24 hours. Each day you get one thing for 24 hours and then we move on to the next. And it's just a fun way to celebrate and bring in the new year. So those links are in the show notes below. It's basically just getting on the writers list and the readers list, which are one or both is perfectly fine. So it is December 15th as this goes out. Like I said, we are having an interview and we're going to get to that in just a second. But I just want to leave you guys with one thought as we've finished this year. And can anyone actually believe that we are finishing 2025? It's just kind of crazy, isn't it? Like one more year has gone. But Victoria and I actually met each other, right? The way that we meet each other these days on social media. We followed each other. We commented on each other's TikToks and just had some fun interacting with each other for a while. And then I invited her to come on the show because she has a really interesting writing story to tell us and how she's gotten into it and her life story as an immigrant and all these things. So it's going to be fun to listen to her story. But I just want to encourage you guys to get out there and find other writers. Find a tribe of people who can encourage you, who can answer your social media and be sort of active there so that you don't feel like you're out here just doing it all by yourself. It's really nice to find other writers that you can just sort of relax with, that you have enough in common that you aren't putting on a show, if you know what I mean. Social media is a lot of a show, but I'm not trying to get, Victoria to buy my books. I'm just commenting on her posts and having fun. She'll ask a question, I'll answer it, just people who will be interacting with you. especially if you are trying to grow your social media or grow your newsletter, you need to be interacting with other authors. You need to be able to do book promos and book exchanges if you're growing your newsletter. If you're growing your social media, you need to be interacting with other authors. And so just doing that authentically and finding people that you really vibe with is a lot more enjoyable than trying to put on a show and do it because you need to, right? The more that I am involved in social media and growing that and just having fun with my books, like I've sort of stepped back from a lot of the work that I was doing. And I find that the less stressed I am, the more I'm able to just be myself and the more that I'm enjoying those things. So if you find yourself kind of hating social media, my advice to you is to find a way to do it in a way that's more like the most authentic that you can possibly be. And I don't mean that you have to share everything about your life. If you follow me, you'll notice if you just step back for a second and look at what I share, it's not a whole lot of personal information. Like I don't share my kids' faces very often. I think like every once in a blue moon, you might see my kid's face and like only on stories. Very rarely do I share about my husband, with some every once in a while, but I share about other things that I'm doing, but I'm doing it in the most authentic way that I can. Now, I do not like get on the bandwagon of like of the latest scandal. I think that is an actual really easy way to grow your social media, but might not bring the results that you want. So I'm pretty careful with that. Not to say that I'm not on the trends, because there are definitely some reels that I do the trends to, ones that are just fun. But you just have to decide what you're willing to do. Do you want to be part of the scandals? Do you want to give your opinions a lot? I might be giving my opinion a little bit more in 2026. We'll see. But I'm not there to rage bait people. I like having conversations, as you guys know. But I don't like to argue and like see who's right. That's not something that's interesting to me. But on the other hand, like let's see, like if you can't find the people that you have things in common with, I think you'll end up hating social media. Okay, so Victoria and I'm pretty sure we're like quite a few years apart. I'm older than her, but we have like a few things in common. We're both writers. We agree on a couple things, like I don't want to live in a communist state. So, and she immigrated and escaped from a communist state or a crumbling communist state. So we have those things in common. We both love history. She studied archaeology, for crying out loud. I need to stop like sharing things that she's going to share with you. But I love that. I love that she like shares things about that. And then I get to respond and being like, oh, I know this about this thing, and I just read an article, and we can geek out together. That's all I'm saying. Find people that you can do your whole geek out together. There are quite a few people on TikTok. I have found more there than I have on Instagram. But all that to say, find your tribe. This is all a lot easier when you find the people that you click with, that you connect with, that you can be yourself with. Okay. So if you're like writing romance and you're with a bunch of people that don't think romance is a real like literary genre, you need to like find other people, right? If you if you write fantasy and you're with a bunch of people that think that fantasy isn't worth reading, you need to find other people. Okay. So find your people, reduce your stress in 2025, and write what you love. Okay. Now I'm really excited about this interview to finish the year, and I'm excited about the interview that's going to start out the year. So we're going to have our back to goals on January 5th, and then we start with interviews again the next week. So just don't forget about Pencils and Lipstick, because there are lots of exciting things that are coming in 2026. But before we get into the new year, we need to finish out this year. And we're going to finish out this year with a wonderful conversation with Viktoria Nikola. Please be sure to check out the links below and to follow her on TikTok. Otherwise, I won't see you until 2026. So have a very Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year. And please keep on listening to Pencils and Lipstick. And just, I appreciate you. Know that I appreciate you.
Somebody.
That's so crazy. So much AI is going to take over our
Mhm.
lives.
I know. It's bizarre.
So thank you so much, Victoria and Nikola, for coming in and talking to me. We've like followed each other on TikTok, but it's fun to talk to you.
Yes, thank you for having me here.
Sort of in person, I guess.
Yes,
This is as in person as we can get from East
I
Coast to
know.
West Coast.
Yes.
Before we get into like your writing and all that, could you give us like a brief bio of who you are?
Sure. Originally, I'm from Russia. We came as Soviet refugees in the early 90s. And I mean, as like a brief bio, I ended up going getting my graduate degree in acupuncture. So for my day job, I'm an
Wow.
acupuncturist. I have my own clinic, and then
You stick
um,
needles in people.
I sure do. I do. It's kind of I don't know what my fate and like weird career choices are, but like I actually wanted to be an archaeologist at one point. I studied history and classics for my undergrad. I did an archaeological dig in Israel.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, those were my two first books. They're inspired by that dig. And then I ended up not liking archaeology, strangely enough, and got into acupuncture, and now I have that going for me. But while I was doing acupuncture and studying, I did miss, like, a big part of me was like, I really missed history. I really missed just like diving into cultures and philosophies. And so my little heart started to create books and ideas, and that's how I
That's
started
so
getting into
funny.
writing. And yeah, and so now I kind of do both. I do acupuncture for like the serious day job, and then I do the writing as a creative
That's
output.
so funny. I feel like, so I've interviewed quite a few writers.
Mhm.
I have like big animal, but like, but I've never had an acupuncturist. So interesting.
There's a
Like,
first for everything. For everything.
I feel like that's quite far though from archaeology.
Yeah. So what actually happened was when I came back from the archaeological internship, I was at a bit of a loss.
Yeah.
It was like I was in my fourth year of history and classics, and I also then went to a panel of like just trying to decide if I should go to grad school just to like study history
Okay.
to be like a history professor. And all of them across the board said, don't immediately go to grad school. Like it was the
Okay.
least sales pitchy panel I've ever gone
That's
to,
so funny.
and they were
Y-
all professors at this, university I was going to. And they were like, don't, just wait, like, wait, it's expensive, it's lengthy in terms of time, it's unnecessary. You could like read history books if you just want history, like live your life a little, and then if you really, really can't live without it, then go and do it. So then
I
I was
feel like
like,
that's good advice.
very good advice, actually. I was very grateful because they were so brutally honest. And so then I left and I was at a complete loss. I was like, what am I going to do now? So then I went searching on a database of internships, thinking I'll just find like a business internship. And I found an event management internship at an acupuncture association. And that was like my gateway drug into
That's so funny.
acupuncture.
Life is so weird.
Bizarre.
It's so
Bizarre.
bizarre because like there's no other way that you would have found that. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
the most bizarre thing. Yeah. I mean, okay. Simultaneously, while all that was happening, I was very, very into holistic health
right.
because I was a very sickly kid growing up.
Okay.
And in my early undergrad years, I was like, that's it. I'm gonna get my health in order. And so I really started diving deep into holistic health because Western medicine wasn't cutting it.
Yeah.
And I was already really into like herbal medicine and food
Okay.
and nutrition and
So
all
you
that.
might have gotten there.
So yeah, yeah. So
You might have.
I was primed.
You were
I was
I was
primed.
primed to stick needles into you.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh,
Exactly.
well, you came over to America in the 90s when like I grew up in the eight. I mean, I was so stuffed with antibiotics to the point where
Yeah.
like you
Yes.
have to detox from all of the 80s and
Yes.
90s. It's
Oh my
bad.
God. Like, I think that's why I was so turned off because the other thing is in Russia, credit goes to like the cultures of the Soviet Union. They are pretty holistically minded.
Right.
They're very herb oriented, and the medical education that doctors did receive, they were very cognizant of like herbs, different herbs you could take. So they had like this interesting integrative approach.
Yeah, I've heard that actually.
Yeah, and like for example, they could easily have done cupping for you at a hospital, which is
Mm,
unheard of here in the West. They
right.
no one's going to be doing cupping now. Physical therapists sometimes do cupping, but it's like rare.
Yeah, it's very rare.
So was already like I knew that there was a different route to
Yeah.
health. Meanwhile, here doctors weren't going to give me like take this herb for your allergies. No, they were like, here's an antihistamine, and I was just like, my nose is just like burning from all the antihistamines I had to
Yeah,
like.
it's fine. It'll burn right through the entire cartilage. It'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll lose your sense
And
of
then we'll
smell.
reconstruct your nose.
Great.
Whatever.
Good.
It's like, yeah, because
So
they're not run by the pharmaceutical companies.
exactly. So yeah, so I basically yeah, so I knew that there was a different way. And when I found acupuncture, I like the thing is what drew me to acupuncture is because they're a very big part holistic medicine. And there's like a historical philosophical component to it because
Mm,
ancient medicine,
yeah.
of course, it's not Slavic, it's Asian, Chinese specifically. And but I was like down with that. I was like, something historical is fine for me.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Mm.
So, what brought you to writing? Like, did you ever write as a kid? Did you, was it,
Yeah. I wasn't like I wrote for fun. Like I actually recently found a little book I wrote when I was a kid,
oh,
like
that's
in
fun.
third grade or something. I so when I learned finally how to speak English, I fell in love with Sweet Valley Kids. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
that.
yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I
Sweet
forgot
Valley
about those
High, Sweet
books.
Valley Twins, Sweet Valley Kids. I
Yes, they
like
would wear purple on what day? Like
that.
Thursday?
Yes. Oh, it was like my favorite. And I would literally be glued to those books. I read everything in our school library. I went to like the county library. I got everything there. And then
Yeah,
so so I really got into books that way. And I think because I was really into the books, I would like invent little stories in my head.
right.
And then at 12, I started to write poetry, which
Oh,
sucked, of course, but I was really into it. And so I had like little, hints that I will eventually start writing books. But yeah.
yes, yeah. So you came over speaking only Russian,
Yeah, of
and then
course,
you
yeah.
had to learn
hmm
English at
hmm
school? Like they just sent you to school?
Yeah, they just threw me in. It
As you
was
do.
it was literally like here's an ocean, learn how to swim. Because the thing is when we moved, actually it was much easier for like my brother who had a lot of kids around him his age who spoke Russian. So when he started school, they were like in an ESL, he's 4 years older. They were like in an ESL program and there were a lot of kids that spoke Russian, so it was a lot more seamless for him. He had kids around him who he could speak with during school, but when they put me in kindergarten I was the only kid who spoke Russian. And it
Oh,
was just
poor
like it was
thing.
not there was like no ESL kindergarten, so it was just like throw you in, they're like she'll learn eventually. And I just
I bet that was their philosophy. Like, oh,
oh
their
yeah,
minds are putty. It'll be
yes.
fine.
Oh, it was awful. I just spent that year like in a corner by myself. And then I basically, yeah, and then I halfway through first grade we moved. We moved to a different apartment complex. And when we moved, I entered a school because first grade was the same thing. I was the only Russian speaking kid in that class. And then when we moved there, I had a ton of Russian speakers
Oh,
and
good.
it became so much more seamless. And you're playing outside, you're picking up words, you don't even think about it.
Hmm.
And then by second, like halfway through second grade, I was probably fluent. But
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but you need friends. Like you
You
need
need
like
practice.
kids like
Yeah, you need
yes, you can pick it
interaction.
up, but you need the
Yeah.
interaction. So like all my kids were born in France. And so
Um,
they like when they came back to America, they had the sort of the same thing, but they went to like a French school so that they would just like
oh, that's
in
great.
you
Do they
know
still speak French?
mhm.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
except for the little one. The little one came at 2.5, so she's like the
Okay.
most American you would ever meet.
Oh
It's
my
like
God. But that's so great. French is such a great language to just know off the bat.
Oh yeah. They don't know how lucky they are. I mean, if you speak two languages right away as a kid, like you just don't know how lucky you are.
Exactly.
Any of these kids, honestly. So when you were in college, were you writing fiction or were you just like so focused on history that it was not
No,
even?
I no, I didn't write anything creative except poetry in college. I did write poetry
So you
still.
kept writing poetry. That's cool.
Yeah, but I actually, I think I really only started writing in 2012 because I remember that because that was the year I got married and we moved from where like Sacramento area, which is where I live now, but we moved from Sacramento to the Bay Area for my
Mm,
school and for my husband's job. And when we moved, I was very like also going through like a transition period. I didn't know anybody other than like school peers. And so I ended up feeling like I have this story. Anyways, I had a lot more time in my on my
yeah.
hands, and I was like pent up emotionally because
Yeah.
I was like, going through all these emotions. So I was like, a poem does not cut this anymore. So I started writing.
So you went
Uh,
straight to a novel.
I went straight to
That's, I mean,
novel.
I can't do this in 12 stanzas. I must
No,
write a
exactly,
novel.
exactly. And that first book was not a syllabic. It's a cool premise. The premise is very cool. It's the last Atlantean. And so it was like this,
Ooh.
it was set in it was set in medieval Italy. Well, like right around the bubonic plague. And it was about this last Atlantean who's like surviving the Black Plague. And it's like her story. And um, it was like historical with speculative elements as well.
Okay.
And I actually wrote both book one and two because it was supposed to be a trilogy. And of course, at that point, I didn't realize that ideally you don't do that because I mean, you can do that, but also like you're kind of, if you don't know where book one is going and you're spending time on book two, then you might be wasting your time. But it worked out for me because it was my first books and I was learning a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Books, they're kind of a mess, so
Did you publish them?
I didn't publish them. I might go back and edit them because
They sound cool. You make
I
a.
really liked the premise. It was really fun. And I had outlined the rest. Actually, there were four books and I had outlined all of them. So maybe one day I'll go back to
So
it.
you started out outlining? How did you come up
Yeah.
with that idea?
I
Like,
think
did
it's
you know about writing? Because, like, I was just like, you just write. You just
yeah,
write words. I don't know. Like,
yeah. Well, I think I just had, it's not that I took a class on it. I think I just had ideas that I needed to get like
and you
down.
were like jotting them
So
down.
these are
Yeah.
just ideas and and it turned into an outline. It wasn't like I consciously sat down. I was like, I'm gonna like very purposely outline this four-part series. I think I just like threw ideas on a paper and it turned into an outline. But um
So it's like you
I
would call it an outline now, but at that
yes.
point, you were just.
Yes, no. I didn't even know. Like, this is how bad that first book was. I didn't even know to keep I was like very omni perspective. Like, I didn't realize at that time how times have changed because I went from like reading a lot of classics and like Agatha Christie, who was like omni perspective. So I wrote in omni perspective. And then when I
Yeah.
had my book proofread I started going to Romance Writers of America, which,
Yeah.
taught me a
We
lot.
all started there because it was the only one.
I mean, it was so helpful because I
It
ended up
was. Yeah.
like no, like taking a lot of classes and the first lady that ever proofread my book, she was like highlighting every
Head
time I was
hopping.
like, yeah, she's like, you're head hopping, it's getting confusing.
Okay, but in European literature, it's still
Mhm.
permitted.
Even currently, even modern.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, pick up a book. What like it's still so I read a lot of Spanish and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this would not fly in America because it's
Yeah,
still very omni perspective.
yeah,
But isn't it strange how it like
yeah.
you don't realize how much you're influenced by what you read
Mhm.
as a young person
I didn't even realize.
I
Yeah.
had no idea either.
Yeah.
That was one of my biggest highlights too. Is like you
Mm.
can't just head hop.
Yeah.
Just head
Yeah,
hop.
I know. I know. I was like head hopping. What? I mean, at that point, I did read actually a lot of romance, so I knew what they meant. But I think when I was writing, I was actually channeling Agatha Christie than
Yeah.
more than channeling like romance
The
books.
Harlequin romance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Well, 2012, so that's like when the Kindle came out. Were you influenced at all by like the self-publishing?
No, I did have a Kindle at that time and I read a lot of romance books. Like I think
Yeah, they
romance
were
is
the
really,
first ones on there. It was
yeah.
great.
It was so easy because
Yeah.
I would just go to class and like I would have like long periods in between class and I would just like sit there just shoving romance down my
I had
mouth.
Tessa Dare, Courtney Milan, Lisa Kleypas. They were like packed.
Yeah. I mean, it was so easy, and that because they're so consumable, they're like candy. They're just so easy to read. Your
They're
mind is
so,
resting. It's
yeah.
always a happy ending, and I was going through like an intense time, so happy endings were like my
Great.
jam.
Yep.
And yeah, and so I think, to be honest though, I think that's why I'm not on the romantasy train right now because I consumed so much of it that like
No, me
it's
too.
like eating your favorite cake for like 2 years and then you're kind of sick of the cake and you're
Yep.
like, I can't, so
Yeah. No, it's got to be a really good cake to get back to it. Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm like not the biggest like I like a good enemies to lovers actually trope, but it has to be something more than just romance in the book for me to like
Yeah.
actually read it
But
now.
isn't that interesting how they changed? I don't know
Mhm.
when that happened because I also like I actually published my first book in 2019. Had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, "Yay! I did it!" Like I have one I'm ready to put out there. Like it's like you wake up, you come out like a gopher. And you're just like, "Wait, I have to learn how to sell it." That's
Yeah,
terrible. But in between that time of like reading, like 2012, so I had kids at that point. I was just like, that's was like my soap opera. I would read.
yeah.
And then now, I pick them up and I'm like, there's no story. There's no like, and some of them I'm sure I haven't read the Crown of Thorns books, the Sarah J.
Uh,
Maas's. I haven't
oh,
done
the
any of that
court,
yet.
yeah, the court ones. Yeah,
The
I know.
court, because I've picked up a few and I'm just like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
This is not like there's no story to it. So
Yeah.
something happened. It might have been 50 Shades of Grey. Like honestly.
Maybe. Yeah, because to be honest, my favorite romance author was what was her name? Ella something. She wrote like historical romances because that's what I read a lot of historical
Ella
romances.
Hillebrand?
No, she had a
No.
simpler name. I gotta
Uh,
look. She
I
had like
feel like I
okay,
can see her cover.
yes, and because her one of her books was about an archaeologist of the like 19th century, and I'm like,
Okay.
oh, hello, my jam,
Yeah.
and and the reason I loved her is because I felt like I was cheating a little bit. Like, yes, it was like heavy on the romance, but like she would have these like little tangents of the storyline. So she was an archaeologist, then another one was like a chemist, and like so it felt like I was like learning slash
Yeah.
intellectually
Yes.
stimulating my brain with
Yes.
like a flavor of romance. So it felt like a good mix of both. And
Right. It wasn't
I
just that
don't
she was an
know.
archaeologist. It's like the author knew what that meant.
Yes. She did clearly a lot of
Yes.
research about it.
Yes.
I love that. I don't know if I can just read. I've read a couple of pure romances and it's not my jam. It was never my jam even back then, you know?
No, no, but most of well, I don't know. I can't say most, but the ones that I would really fall in love with, they were like one of them was a musical like composer genius. And the way that they talked about music was just like
Uh-huh.
mind blowing. So like these authors before Google and AI were what they are today, were somehow finding all this information
I
of like
know.
how to write about like another one she was a mathematician and I
Yeah.
can't do math to save my life, but like everything that she saw in the world like lined up mathematically. It was just
That's
It was
really cool.
so good.
I
Like,
mean, can you imagine in today's day and age of like Fourth Wing and ACOTAR, somebody being a mathematician and seeing the world through the
there's no
lens?
way. There's no way. There's
That
no
would
way.
be such a bad read in today's market.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about today's market.
Yes. Oh yeah. Let's dive in.
When did you get on TikTok and
So
why?
quickly, I got on, oh God, a couple years probably before I released my book. And I went through periods where I like was really active, then I was like not
But
active.
as an author or just like as
No, I mean, okay, so okay, I missed the train, the gravy train of the pandemic because I think a lot of
I
accounts
know. I'm
followed it.
always late to that
I
stuff.
wish, I wish, I missed.
Although I would have said things that would have like canceled me.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Well, I'm already in that basket now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too.
Yeah. But I missed the gravy train then. I think I got on when because we moved into this house in 21 and I probably got on like 22. And I think I was or just thinking in advance of like I know I'm gonna be either going trad pub trying to like gain an audience with this book, this Vengeance of Flames book, or I'm gonna self-publish it. Hope like I self-published in 2016, so I was trying not to go that path again
It's
and
hard.
it's hard. And I actually got really close with Vengeance and Flames. I had like really prominent agents really interested in the book. So I was like, this is it. And it just like never panned out anyway.
Really? I
Hmm.
don't think the pandemic was a great time. I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't think so.
I think
That
your book could have, well, I think they missed out because I've read your book. So I think if they had it would have gone along with the romantasy just fine. You know what I mean?
I
If
think
they had
so.
any vision.
Yeah.
But the traditional publishing world is weird. Like,
Well, and it was weird because okay, so I think I started querying it in 22, and it was right at around I was like, oh, the whole Russia-Ukraine conflict happened, and I thought I was like, okay, this might land me in some hot water. I had written the book before it all went crazy. And I actually went to a writers conference in 22 and I pitched the book and I got a ton of requests. And I asked one specific agent point blank, I said, do you think this war is going to be uh, a bad, like, do you think it's going to be like an issue for agents to try to rep me or publish it? And she goes, no, I think it's a great time because when has anyone ever heard of Kiev before this? This was like her words,
yeah,
not
I mean,
mine.
I don't yeah, I can hear the
Yeah. And so
hesitation.
I was like, okay, cool. So it's going to work in my favor.
Yeah, I would almost think like if it was the reverse, if it was like quote
Yeah.
unquote pro Russia,
Yeah.
maybe it would. Because
Be a
remember,
battle.
we like canceled pianists.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like people like college courses were canceling Dostoevsky and like
Oh my
it was
gosh.
so nonsensical. I
But
remember
it didn't
Elizabeth
happen?
Gilbert. Yeah. What?
Sorry, go ahead.
Elizabeth Gilbert, remember she postponed her book that was set in Russia, even though it was about a family that was going against the government during the Soviet
I
Union.
didn't know that. I knew
Yeah.
another girl got like canceled because she had one set in the Mongolian, like when Genghis Khan was there in Russia and it was a fantasy and all this and she got pressured to like and I can't remember her name and I was like that sounds amazing. I really
That
want to
sounds
read this
so
book,
fun.
but she has like disappeared. I don't know where she went.
Poor girl. I mean, it's psychologically
It's a
damaging, really. I think I didn't have much to lose because it's not like I had a ton of audience already, and I was self-published, and so like I didn't have a publisher dropping me, which I'm pretty sure I would have been dropped if
You think so?
I think so, yeah. I have a couple of friends who are like not on social media, but we know each other for long, like other writers. And one of them has like her pulse on like what's happening in publishing really, really well. And she was like, thank God you're self-published.
Do you think so? So, okay,
Oh,
let's tell people what happened because they
yeah.
might not know what
Oh,
happened.
sure. So I published this book about Olga of Kiev, who's the first female ruler of Kiev and Rus, which is the original kingdom to Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. It's like back then it wasn't known as three different realms. It was just all one thing because it's like 1,000 years ago. that eventually developed into these three different distinct cultures and countries. Um, but basically, it's the antecedent culture. And sorry, my dog's here. Darcy, it's okay. It's okay. Um, so, anyways, I the story of Olga of Kiev is fascinating because she's your first female ruler of a medieval kingdom in a very, very Viking male dominant like world. It's incredibly brutal, and it's set in literally like before 1000 AD. So it's like 945. And she ends up going on the reason she becomes a ruler is because her husband, who's the prince of Kiev, gets killed brutally by a neighboring Slavic tribe. And she goes on a vengeful spree to avenge his
She's
death.
she gets a bit crazy.
She's crazy. She's crazy. I mean, I've
Well, she
read,
didn't know she was, I mean, she never planned to
no,
become the queen, like
no, she wasn't planning. And technically she was like a regent queen for her son, but
mhm.
she was still
Right, but she was
ruler.
I can't imagine being her though. So like
Yeah.
so you become this regent queen, but without like it's not like the president these days. Like you
Oh,
could be easily overturned,
so easily.
like stabbed in the night or like whatever.
Yeah.
Like you're a woman, right?
Such
Like
a
but
doggy dog world, yeah. And I mean, that's what I try to, because if you read the primary source of her story, which is still written like 300 years after her life, um, it's very like she existed, then she did like this happened, then she did revenge A, B, and C. It's very like cut and dry, very like non-emotional, and you're left like kind of gaping at the story, going like, she did what? And and I wanted to bring to life like what like the motivation for
yeah.
such brutality. Like, why did she do the things that she did? Because it was a very brutal revenge. And
Is it all true what you put in the book? Like that
the revenge part, yeah, that's all
that's
written in
crazy.
history. Yeah, the revenge part is, yeah, which results in a complete destruction of this like tribe essentially. Um, and then she ends up converting to Christianity and
That's
becomes
so funny.
ultimately a saint.
She's a saint now.
She's a saint. She's revered as a saint for widows. And so it's like ultimate gray character of like going from like brutal war queen to becoming a saint. And it's just a fascinating story. And I didn't even think it in terms of like the modern context of like Russia
I
and
wouldn't have either.
politics. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just a
No.
fast story. It's a very universal female survival story. And
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to focus on and bring to light. And I basically got caught in the crossfire of this existing war and conflict right now because I tried in my naivety a little bit. I tried to like mix and match different like cultures of like Russia and Ukraine together. And so I put her in a Russian crown called a kokoshnik on the cover, even though technically these crowns didn't exist at the time. But I mean, I'm weaving in speculative elements, might as well just like use some kind of beautiful thing that we all understand. I mean, not all, but
Well,
is
you
understood
see it
as
as
a crown.
Slavic. Where like the
It is,
Western eye is like,
yes,
okay, I get
yes,
what this is. Yeah.
exactly. It's not like most Westerners don't even know the nuanced historical take. And then I use like the spelling of Kiev as like preferred by modern Ukraine. And and then there's like different phrases that I used that were a little bit Ukrainian. I didn't use too much, but there was like a couple of words that I used. And so I just thought like, oh, we're mixing, matching different cultures. And apparently, though, nowadays it's viewed as though she was only like by certain groups within Ukraine. Because personally, I think it was like a bit of an extreme take, but because of this war and the desire to like really get independent of Russia, which is understandable, it became more popularized. This idea that Kievan Rus originally was only Kiev. And then when it moved to Moscow in about, because it was originally in Kiev, and then it moved to Moscow in like the 1300s, I think, or maybe like 1200s. And that's when it essentially became Russia. And before that, it was only Ukraine. But it's it's a little bit nonsensical to look at it like that because capitals
Yeah.
move. It wasn't a distinct culture when it moved like,
No. Yeah.
Japan was Japan before it was in Kyoto and then after it was in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
don't think of it that way. So anyways, there's like this kind of extreme historical take, and there was a group that got really upset with my use of the kokoshnik on the cover, thinking
But
that
how did they even find you and why do they care?
I
Like,
know. I actually, so there was amongst the chaos that ensued, there was one girl who DM'd me who was like relatively like mild in her response. Like she was just like, listen, I'm sorry, like you're getting all this hate, but I just want to explain to you. Like, I mean, she didn't need to explain. I understood what was happening, but she was like, we're just very upset because of blah blah blah. And Olga of Kiev is like only our like our own historical figure, and we don't want anybody to take her. It was a very like interesting DM
but
that she
but
sent.
it's so interesting because they obviously didn't read the book.
Exactly. And so I literally was like, thank you for being so it was the nicest disagreeing DM that I got because I got like DMs like death threats and like just cussing me out. It was crazy. And then of course like people review bombed my Goodreads and like review like just attack certain posts, especially on Instagram. It was like it started on Instagram. I all of a sudden started getting like crazy comments under certain posts where I promoted Olga of Kiev. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna message after like months of this like happening of like Goodreads deleting the review bombs, then review bombs coming back, and it just was like round after
God, how
round.
much energy do they have?
It was, I don't know, like somebody was paying attention to the Goodreads. Like I felt like they chose a person who was like, okay, watch this Goodreads, check it every day, because
That's
literally
so crazy.
within 24 hours, I would get bombed again.
You'd
I don't
think
know.
that they'd be banned. I'm a little
I
disappointed in
know.
Goodreads. Like,
I
if
actually, I know. I'm shocked that Goodreads didn't ban some of these because I literally, after I think the third round, I was like, listen, these are like multiple offenders. It's the same people. I have
yeah,
screenshots of the same usernames that are
yeah,
doing this, who haven't read the book. They are admitting that they haven't read the book in their
yeah,
review.
they're mad about a cover.
And
Like, just so
cover
listeners understand, they were mad about the crown
the
on the
crown on the
cover.
cover.
They
Yeah,
didn't read the book because if they would read the book, you talk specifically about her being Olga Kiev. Like, and
yeah,
like you even say it
yes,
for the modern reader, like
yes,
that it's the whole region, that this
yes,
is set in like the
yes,
900s. It's so
yes.
stupid.
It's so bizarre. And also because I have like Ukrainian family, I have Ukrainian friends, like nobody in my real life had a problem with this cover. They all
Do you think they found out you were Russian descent and that was part of it?
Yeah, I think so. Because when I contacted the girl that was nice to me via DM, I asked her, I was like, hey, can you tell me, like, I understand if you don't want to, but can you tell me how you found out about my book? Like, where did this wave of hate come from, like, originate? And she said she saw a girl on TikTok talk about it. And I was like, I don't know if I believe that because the hate predominantly came from Instagram, unless this girl posts on both TikTok and Instagram and repurposes, which is what we all do, and just reposted the same post on Instagram and people saw it. Because I got like very few hate comments on TikTok and I got a sea of them on Instagram. I
Right,
had to
right.
block comments on many of those posts.
So they must have like a group.
I think so.
Who knows what all these people are doing?
I don't know, but I think so. Not only do I think it's a group, whether it's a Goodreads group, it could have been a Goodreads
That's
group.
true. That's
Um,
true.
so not only is it a group, but I'm at this point convinced that somebody in that group has access to either a bot farm or they know how to code really well because one of the times that I deleted, I think it was the third round or I forget. One of the times it got deleted, the review bombs literally less than 12 hours. Like it was deleted, I went to sleep, I wake up and there's 131 one-star review bombs with profiles that clearly were just made to review bomb me. They don't have a name, they don't have a photo, they don't have any other reviews.
Again,
Um,
I'm so disappointed in Goodreads. I don't
yeah,
understand what their problem is. Like,
yeah,
why they would want to sabotage their site like that. It's
yeah,
gotten to the point, like, even with real people on Goodreads, I'm like, nah, Goodreads.
yeah.
Like,
Well, yeah, and actually, like I talked to an author who was traditionally published, also Russian, and she writes like Slavic historical, but like more modern history. And she actually didn't get great reviews on Goodreads from like real readers, and which is bizarre because it's a great book, and it's about Ivan the Terrible,
oh,
and
he was
I,
cray cray, man.
yeah, he was crazy. And it's a historical, it's like a fun retelling of Baba Yaga and Ivan the Terrible.
Oh, I'm gonna have
And
to read that.
yeah, it's a really fun story. And it's called like The Witch and the Tsar. Shout out to her, Alyssa. And she said, she said that she didn't have one of the readers that kind of started not the greatest reviews is because she was upset that she didn't get an arc. So then when she reviewed, and it's crazy because I read her review, it was like a really like long essay of a bad review. And when I read it, it made no sense because she's like, and does every single Slavic retelling have to add kvass? Kvass is like a drink, it's like a kombucha drink almost. And I'm like, I don't even think, like, I think I should maybe mentioned it once. Maybe it was like so off that like not even a big deal. And this
That's,
this reviewer dedicated a paragraph
does
going,
every like historical set in England need brandy? I mean, I don't know. Yes, they've got to drink something. What are you talking
so
about? Or
bizarre. I was
tea?
like, yes,
Why are they always drinking tea?
why is that a problem? I don't understand.
Ah, reviewers. I don't know.
Review.
So remember back when like it was just you review the book. I mean, pretty much if I finished a book, I never thought in stars. I was just like, I liked it. I read it. I finished it. It was good. I'll recommend it to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like there are some that stick with you longer,
Yeah.
but when did it become like somebody gave me a 2 star because I said her heels clicked down the hall or something like that. And she was like, what a
What?
stupid sentence.
What?
And I was like, okay, sounds good.
Listen.
Whatever. Like,
Yeah, I have two-star reviews on Olga, but at the least they read the book.
yes, at least they read the book.
They read the book, and the 2 stars cracked me up because one of them said it was Christian propaganda because Olga converts to Christianity at some point,
Which
and I
is
was like,
true, like that she did.
I was like, okay, yeah. And then the other one was upset that oh God, what did she say? I don't remember like all the details, but one thing sticks out to me. She was like, Olga trained for so long for that last battle and she didn't even fight. And I'm like, so long. Like, I think I mentioned it like one sentence. There's like, there's one sentence in the long winter where it was like, and she would like train just because, like, she was just trained because there was time, there was
See,
winter, they're
I
going into
love that
battle.
you were realistic about it because there are so many like speculative going
Yeah.
into fantasy where they're like, and she's never fought before,
Lord.
but suddenly she can pick up a sword. It's like, what? What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I
I
love
was
like I
I was
loved
really
it. That's
trying
so
to
funny.
stick to like reality, and obviously the troop commander and her had like a whole symbiotic relationship, and that was like his forte. So I was trying to,
But she
I was
was
trying,
more of a queen. Like the queen would ride out, right?
yeah,
But there's no way she's going into battle. If you kidnap the queen,
yeah,
it's
it's gone, it's
done.
gone, it's
Like
done.
this
Yeah,
just goes to show nobody knows history. This is
no,
also the problem.
no.
Like,
I mean, even the king seldom ever actually
yes,
fought. Like you don't. If
you don't
you're a ruler, you don't actually pick up a sword and fight. It's rare that you
right.
will.
Well, there are actually stories written about how stupid they were to like go out into the battle.
Yeah,
Like, well, this
and
is the problem with modern readers. Well,
yeah,
I don't mind the 2 star reviews if they say something. The worst is when they give you 2 stars and they don't say anything.
yeah, I
That's
agree.
when I'm like, oh, you have a problem with
Yeah.
something. Like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
It's just some biases, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think this would have happened anyway if you weren't on? Well, it didn't happen on TikTok. You said it happened on Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah. Um, I think I think this person probably found a social media post of mine because I don't know if they would find it outside of like
This,
Goodreads because
I mean,
like
but this person, like, you're not going to escape whatever
yeah,
drives this kind of
yeah,
animosity.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
so
know.
sorry about that.
Thank you. I mean, I'm glad that it happened at this period of my life where I don't probably derive my full identity from writing. I think if it happened earlier in my
I
writing,
would have been
I
devastated.
would have just been like
Well, I
under
would have
the
been
bridge.
shocked, first of all.
Yeah,
It's nice that it happened like after COVID and after America's already gotten weird to
yeah,
the
yeah,
point. I don't know about you, but I'd be like, yeah, of course this is going to
yeah.
happen.
I actually told one of my friends, I'm like, I feel like I'm so cancelable. Like I'm like my whole identity is a cancelable identity at this point. Like I'm Russian, I'm a Soviet refugee, which in today's like weirdly Marxist heavy society is like a no-no, you know.
Well,
So
especially in California, they're like, yeah, we want to be.
yeah, I know. People love socialism here. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, it's like a
They think
strange,
they're going to surf all day long, though, so it's fine.
yeah. I know it's a strange reality to be in this weird place where all of a sudden, I mean, I don't think it's all of a sudden. I think probably I was just talking to somebody on TikTok who said she's in college right now and she said like most of her professors cram Marxism down people. Like she's a psychology major, I think, and um in her a lot of her psych classes and sociology classes, the professors just like go hard with Marxist ideology.
Well, I'll say, and people might stop listening to the podcast at this point, that every professor I know that I grew up with, I'm a little older than you, probably a decade. Like my friends who have become professors, they live in a bubble.
Hmm.
Like I live in DC and there are people that live in a bubble and they haven't a
Yeah.
clue. Like I'm
Mhm.
about to go to Cuba again in January. I go like with a church group and we do humanitarian. You have no idea. Like Americans have no idea
No.
what they are
Well,
even
Cuba has free
talking
healthcare.
about.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no medicine. They've got no medicine.
The hospitals are devoid of tools, but it's free.
Yes, I talked to an ER doc there and he was like, "Well, I almost got stabbed last night. Thank God we have no guns because I would have gotten shot because he has no medicine to give their family." And he was like so kind. He was like, "I understand their frustration." I was like, I would not. Like, I'm out of here. Don't hold me
I-
up at gunpoint. But he was like, yeah, I understand. Their family member is sick, and I have nothing to give them.
oh my
Can
gosh.
you imagine being a doctor and being like, I have nothing to give you, and I'm so sorry. I am created to cure you, but I can't.
You
So
know, and in a way, I think this is why going full back circle, I think that's why the doctors in the Soviet Union were more holistically minded
mm,
because it was much easier to do cupping than to do complex surgery, or
yeah,
much
or
easier
to
to
do
like,
nothing.
or to do nothing, or to like like I don't have antibiotics, but if you get honey and this particular flower that you pick in the meadow, you can mix it together and it's like kind
It
of an
might save
antibiotic.
you.
Yeah,
Let's
like
go.
let's be honest, like there's blessings in that, but also let's be real, that's probably in a way why that was kind of like in the forefront rather than it's not like they went, oh, they have all because they would actually still fly people out to Germany and to America to get like real
For
surgery,
real
like
surgeries. So
like
my
heart
husband's from
surgery.
Spain and we have hosted from Venezuela, from Cuba, all the big names, which is something they also don't talk about. Like all the big names find a way out to go
Yeah,
get their surgeries.
yes,
Whereas
yes,
I'm bringing in glasses and Tylenol and aspirin into
yeah,
the country for the regular people.
yeah.
So people just live in a bubble. Whatever. If people want to stop listening to the podcast, that's
I
fine.
know. Sorry, guys. You know, I just was like this. Actually, that's a blessing. The
Mm-hmm.
cancellation was a blessing in the sense that, like, I'm just gonna be who I am. I'm gonna say my opinions as they are,
I
because
agree.
I have nothing to lose. My Goodreads is trashed. Like, whatever. You want to cancel me further? You want to add to the like pile-on? Doesn't matter.
Go
It doesn't
ahead.
make sense.
I mean, and here's the thing too is what I have like I was super naive when started. Like I was just writing a book. I don't know. I have no like I have my private opinions about the world and like I have a book and whatever. And then the world got crazy, right? And
Yeah,
it's just like but I get to the point where like you can read that book. So like that one right there, you can read that book, but if you like socialism and communism, you probably won't like the book. It's fine. But
yeah,
what's weird to me is like I read books where you know what the point of view of the author is, and it's
yeah,
okay. Like
yeah,
Isabel Allende, who left Chile, like has her own opinion about
yeah.
socialism and her own family, and like whatever. She still writes a great story. Like, who cares? You don't have to agree with people's worldview of stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, exactly. I mean, like I listen to, Shostakovich is a composer who like has amazing pieces. There's like a really famous one that went viral several times on TikTok. And I listen, but he was a crazy communist. Like he has like a beautiful piece, and then like the rest of his pieces are like praising communists. I'm not gonna not listen to beautiful music because he's a communist.
exactly.
That's the crazy thing. Like I think, and there's like a lot of writers that like, Bulgakov and Gorky and like a lot of poets at the time, they were actually socialists. So it's like, I'm not gonna not read
Oh my
their
gosh, all
book.
the French were all like
Yeah,
trying to become like they were the most narcissistic, nihilistic people. You're
yeah,
like, but you still got to read the classics. You got to read like even a lot of the Americans were very like thought that they could become, make a utopian, and they
yeah.
some of them moved to Soviet Union and found out like
Found out the hard way. And then like settled back quietly.
they were like, never mind. They lived in that
I
hotel for a
know.
while. I
I
just
know.
find it odd that that has become a thing.
Hmm.
Like it used to be as a point of discussion of like you read Animal Farm and you read what's the one about the meat packing, these are all American classics, or you read like whatever and you just like talk about what does
Hmm.
it mean and like what do you think about it and whatever, who cares? All of a sudden it's a big deal if somebody's wearing the wrong crown. Like
Yeah,
it's speculative fiction for
I
crying
know.
out loud.
I
It shouldn't matter. And it is
know.
fiction. It's not
Exactly. I wasn't
nonfiction.
trying to pass this off as like actual history. I have like there's a magician, there's like a seer in the book.
And
Like
she like
literally.
listens to birds, guys.
I know. I was like, she's talking to birds, literally, like, what are you talking about? Oh, I know,
But
my
it
life.
hasn't deterred you from writing because you're writing more books.
Yeah, yeah. I have another one. It's also set in Russia. It's about Rasputin's
Oh,
assassination, the planning about Rasputin's assassination and Rasputin's assassination. It's a dark comedy. There's no speculative this time.
really?
It's pure, yeah. It's purely historical, well, alternate history because I add my own little details to it.
So do you think Anastasia survived?
I know. I really wish. I think no. Ultimately, I think nobody did.
I
I don't
know.
know. I
As
don't
a
think
kid, though, I
so.
really wanted that to be true. That'd be
I
so
know.
romantic if she had survived.
There's like different, like if you really go down that rabbit hole, there were different theories. Like some people said it was actually Maria who survived and not Anastasia. That was the longest one. The first theory and the longest standing one. Then there are different theories that like Tatiana survived. Honestly, I think it's wishful thinking. I don't think you could survive that what they went through. Like, I mean, what they,
No. Like,
like, I mean,
I mean, you would have.
it was a tiny room. Like, I know why. I don't know. Do you know like the story of like why she survived? Because they had sewn diamonds into their clothing because they
Oh.
were so the bullets. Some of it acted as almost like a bulletproof shield because the bullets would bounce off their clothing because there were diamonds in there, and so
That's crazy.
That's why they had to like really crazily shoot continuously. So I just don't think it's possible to really survive that though, because they were in an enclosed room. And on top of that, I don't know how gory you want to get, but they made sure that let's just say they made sure that they were all gone.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's like the French Revolution. Like any revolution, you're going to make
Yeah.
sure because you can't have people coming back,
No,
basically.
no, no.
I don't remember what series it was, but I was obsessed with this series way back in the 90s and it was set right before the revolution. And I
Ooh.
was so like fascinated with the
Tell me,
czar.
I love that time period in Russia, like right
I'm going to
before
have
the.
to remember. I wonder if anyone else listening knows. It was like it must have been YA. YA wasn't a thing back then. But so she like leaves a village and she becomes one of the maids. And it's Alexander.
The
And
third?
then it must have been the third. No, it must have been right before. It must
Because
have
if
been the
it was.
guy before because she can. The prince leaves and goes, like, runs away and hides. One
Hmm.
of them ends in a cliffhanger, like you think he's dead, and Dimitri,
Oh,
his friend, like helps him cover it up, and
oh,
he's in the village married to the servant girl.
oh, that's romantic.
Oh, it
That
was
was
so
so
romantic. It was just
romantic.
like it was super romantic, and it had all the tradition of like Russian Orthodox church and
Yeah.
like just like all, and I was just like a Wisconsin girl being like, this is so
Oh,
crazy, like fascinated and all the
yeah.
tradition. I'll have to figure out what it was. If
Tell
anybody
me,
knows, but
yeah.
I'll
No,
have to
like
ask Grok.
I'm drunk. You know what? One of my favorite series, and this is not a book, this is actually a Russian show called Talisman, which is like Talisman of Love. And it's such a fun show. I think it's set like in the early 1900s, and it's has like these mystical elements about this talisman that used to belong to Napoleon, and it would like gift it's whoever holds it basically generated luck and fortune. And so it's this family, it's a noble family who have four kids, and it's about all their individual stories. And it's so like lovely. It's awful graphics now that I think back because there's like a ghost, and the ghost is like terribly like it came out in 2005. They still hadn't figured out how to make a ghost look good. But it was so it was so compelling. And I think that that series made me want to like write stories set at that time frame because it had
Yeah,
like treasure and speculative elements and like history.
yeah,
Like, one of the oldest daughter leaves her family for like a lover, the way like a lot of
yes,
the heroines do, and
yeah. But that was
um,
happening a lot. Like there is like a mysticism in almost every kind of 19th century
yeah,
country. There's like this, maybe except for America, because we're like such prudes.
right.
We're
Right,
like,
right, right. Yeah, you're right. Like Spain is really known for that too, Spanish
yeah.
literature.
And
Hmm.
everyone's always like, at some point, somebody leaves
Yeah,
like the nobility position for
yeah.
someone else,
Oh yeah,
like,
because I mean, what a great story because
this is
the
real life.
Gilded Page.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when is the next book going to come out? Is it related to Vengeance and Flames or is it a
No, no, it's
standalone?
completely independent. It's about like a misfit team of nobles and commoners who are trying to basically assassinate Rasputin, and they just don't know what the heck they're doing.
He
And
was supposed to be like mystical, right?
he was
He
supposed to be,
was.
he was like he was known for like healing Alexei, who's the prince who had hemophilia and would have like bouts of like unstoppable blood,
Oof,
going.
that's
So
rough.
yeah, it's a crazy story, but if you read the entire like historical account, it reads like a dark comedy because you're like, what is happening here? Like you can't normally put like a person shouldn't survive eating cyanide, but
Oh
Rasputin does.
my
A
gosh.
person shouldn't survive being shot, Rasputin does. Like, what is going on here? And so, like, I think my historical like mind and creative mind is like something like they're not saying because we know of the account because of Prince Felix who talked about it in his like he released a book at some point and he talked about how the night went, but like he's one of the planners. He was one of the assassins. So like he's gonna leave things out. And
Right.
so I kind of like use my little imagination. And
I'm surprised this hasn't been written about very much. Like there's
isn't it crazy? Because he's such a great character. Like he's a famous historical
yeah.
figure. Yeah.
He was loved and hated. Like you have
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
that's
And there's
crazy.
apparently there's like women involved in the assassination. There's like a ballerina and a silent film actress who,
What?
yeah, it's crazy. And a countess who's the half sister of one of the duke that was involved. And like nobody knows this. Like you got to go down a historical rabbit hole to find out that they were involved. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's kind of fascinating.
That
So
is so fascinating. So
yeah.
how is that writing going? Is it almost
It's
done? Is
complete. The
it
book is done. I'm
okay?
just going through edits. I think so. I think my release date right now is set for May-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not 100% sure on
Are
like
you
the date.
doing indie again? Are you gonna go
I'm doing
traditional?
indie. I'm not. I think I'm done for traditional for a while. Like even if it wasn't for everything, their timelines are just so long.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
their timelines are like even if you get repped by an agent, there's absolutely no guarantee that that book is going to get
I
published.
know.
And even
That's
if it
so
does,
sad. Yeah.
yeah, the soonest it gets published is like 2, 3 years.
I
It's
know. It's so
insane.
crazy. It's so
I'm just
crazy.
like, he's
They're
like,
gonna have to change that at some
yeah.
point because I don't see how. Yeah.
Well, one thing I think that traditional publishing could do just to easily help themselves is to stop printing a ton of books before they know how much to sell. In today's day and age where you can print on demand, I don't understand why they still do that. Where I'm
But
like,
they'd have to change the New York Times bestseller way of how they count.
yeah,
So, because
maybe
they
that's,
only send it to
yeah.
specific bookstores.
It's true. And I understand in a way why they do that because they like have to buy for certain bookstores. But like, can't you, like, I'm sure some accountant somewhere could like
Oh, I'm sure they could.
figure out how much they should print and the
Pretty
rest.
sure ChatGPT could figure it out
Yeah.
for them, but yeah. I don't
But
know.
yeah,
After watching their whole Senate testimony, I'm like, you guys have no
no clue.
clue what's happening and no real will
Yeah.
to like
No.
change.
No, because the people on top have made their money. They make their money off the bestsellers. They don't care about changing it.
Yep.
And then the middle tier poor authors, like, let's see if luck strikes down upon you and you become a bestseller. And even the bestsellers, like I know some bestsellers, like I used to have a channel where I interview people, and a couple of them now have hit the bestseller, but that doesn't even mean
Doesn't
it.
mean anything anymore.
Like, I think you saw, like, I was listening to a girl, she said she just sold 600 not that that's a little bit, that's a lot. I would have loved to sold 600 copies in the first 2 weeks, but that's not a
It's not
mind-blowing
that. No,
amount. It's
exactly.
not hundreds of thousands
No.
of books
It's
sold, you
very
know?
strange how you can work with the metrics of the algorithm and it doesn't take that many.
No.
The biggest problem is that we're competing with 2 million books a year.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
biggest problem.
Okay.
But yeah. So where can we find you to like follow you and get Vengeance in Flames and then find the new one?
Yeah, thanks. I definitely on TikTok is where I post the most. And I think it's ViktoriaNNK,
We'll have the link in the
yeah,
show
we'll have
notes.
them. And then I also have an Instagram, but I usually just repurpose everything from
Mm-hmm.
TikTok there. It's rare that it's like unique content on Instagram. And then on Amazon, you can buy the book, Vengeance and Flames. That's the book.
Is the
And
new cover out?
the new cover is already on the yes, it's on Amazon. It's uploaded. I mean, I that's one thing I didn't mention. I did change the cover only because I wanted my like readers who don't like know the nuances of what's happened. I
Yeah.
just want them to know like my goodwill of like, listen, I'm really not trying to make this political. I had no intention of like
It's just a
driving a
cool. It
wedge.
was a cool cover.
It was a cool cover. It was pretty. I mean, that's kind of superficial of me, but it was really pretty. And I didn't even think that it was going to be an issue again, because I have Ukrainian family and friends who like
It
cheered
shouldn't
it
have
on.
been. It wouldn't have been like five years ago. You know what I mean? But
No,
whatever. It's honestly, I think you made the right decision because it's not worth it. Because what you want people to do is read the book. Like
exactly.
that's, and
Exactly.
then you can have all the reviews you want, but just
Yeah.
actually
Just
read
read
the
the
book.
book. Just read the book, please. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's on Amazon. And
Okay.
yeah, I think there's like another more. If you don't want it, oh, it's on Barnes and Noble if online. If you don't want to use Amazon, it's on Barnes and Noble.
We always got to make sure people.
Yeah. Some people are
Well,
very staunch anti-Amazon,
I
as I've
know a few. I know a few. I work with, I'm like, how do you sell books if you don't have them on
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
But all right, so we will have the links in the show notes below. I mean, I think you're fun to follow on TikTok, whether you agree with our discussion lately or
I
not, but
know.
it's very interesting because you actually lived in Russia, but you're definitely somebody to follow on TikTok. So I'll have the links in the show notes below. And otherwise, thank you so much for coming on and
Thank you
talking.
for having this so much fun.
I feel like we could talk forever, but
Forever.
we'll just have
I
you on
know.
again.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yes.